our speakers and people addressing the lectern that way. The next two people I'm going to introduce are the evil people in our meeting. Our ah counter and our grammarian. And if you will, Kim Parachi is our grammarian today. Will you define your role for us and tell us how kind you'll be to us?
Okay, yes. My role as grammarian is to count or keep track of your misuses of the language and probably make suggestions for better use and to count the word of the day, right? Use of the word of the day.
No, I do it.
You doing it?
Yeah.
She's doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. And being our ah counter, which is just the person who can put the most tick marks after your name, is Nicole. And bribery gets you everything.
Good morning. As the ah counter, I will note the number of ahs and ums, crutch words, double words, and also the number of words of the day that people use. And I just messed that up. Thank you.
And finally, we like to keep things a little bit on the upbeat. And in order to help assist us with that, Connie is going to present us with the joke of the day.
Okay, good. Last week we were talking about health care. This week everybody's talking about health care, so I thought I would tell a joke about pet care. It seems that there's this pet owner that takes his sick dog to the vet. The vet examines the dog and says, "I'm sorry, but he's terminally ill." And the owner says, "I'd like a second opinion about that." The vet, being a little cockamamie, says, "Well, I believe that animals sense other animals' illness and so on. So the way I give second opinions or have it is that I have animals come in and
Confirm.
confer." That's a good word, confer. So he invites his cat to come in. The cat comes in, gets up on the table with the dog who's lying there being examined and goes around and shakes his head, gets down off the pet owner says, "Well, I'd like another opinion." So the vet goes out and gets his golden retriever, his Labrador retriever. And he comes in, jumps up on the table, sniffs him, licks him, shakes his head. The owner says, "Okay, all right, I understand. I'll go home and think about this and see how I want to handle it." And he said, "How much will my bill be?" And the vet says, "It'll be $650. The owner says, "$650 for what?" He said, "Well, my exam was $50. The additional $600 was for the CAT scan and the lab test."
Was that a complimentary story?
That was good. But funny.
Allow me to call your attention to, especially for our guests, you'll see that we have an area on our roster that calls for speeches, and we don't have any names in there, which is quite rare for us here at Toastmasters because we're very verbose. We like to talk a lot. But this week we had nobody step up to the bar, and usually we would have 2 or 3 speakers at every meeting, and those speeches would last 2 or 3 minutes. And this week nobody was ready, so we're omitting that section. That moves us to the next part of the meeting, and that is table topics. Allow me to explain to you what table topics is all about. Table topics gives you the opportunity to come up here and speak spontaneously on the impromptu, being prompted by our table topics master. You'll be expected to talk between 1 and 2 minutes and to focus on what the table topics master has presented you with as the subject as best that you can. You're supposed to come up here and have a little fun, not be afraid, and it's one way to get your feet very wet here in table topics, Toastmasters. So without further ado, I would like to present you with our table topics master for the day, Mr. Drew.